Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. This is Death Watch here to give you guys more intel so you can update your personal armory and fight back against the fake news media machine. And today we'll be discussing Christians not only pushing back against LGBTQ curricula being pushed in schools, but we're starting to see Muslims joining in the fight for their kids, right? Openly saying, leave our kids alone, right? On Friday, hundreds of Christians and Muslims in Calgary came together at City Hall to protest the gender ideology being taught in schools, chanting, leave our kids alone. Strolling down here. We came to this country because we have freedom of choice, a Muslim man said. We can practice our religion, deserve the right to protect us. We can be whatever we want to be. You can do whatever you want to do, but just leave our kids alone, right? The same sentiment that we saw in California with the Armenian and Hispanic parents there who were protesting the school board by saying, hey, our standardized testing scores for our school district is going down. You guys are not prioritizing, science, math, reading comprehension, and literacy, right? You guys are instead trying to force our kids to believe in all this weird gender ideology that we do not agree with, right? And so in Canada, you're starting to see Muslims and Christians coming together and saying enough is enough, right? Switching over to Al Jazari right here. Muslims opposed to LGBTQ curricula for their kids aren't bigots. It boils down to the moral values rooted firmly in one's faith, not in a political ideology, left or right. Okay. It is understandable for parents to be concerned. In Maryland, for example, a school district has approved books that discuss homosexuality and transgenderism as normal realities for children as young as 3 years old. This is a state sponsored ideological indoctrination of toddlers who can barely form complete sentences, much less think critically, right? Parents have a God given duty and legal right to provide moral instruction and guidance to their children. This includes the right of parents and their children to reject ideologies that contravene their belief systems, right? But what we now are starting to see that leftists do not agree, right? MSNBC is trying to run a kind of cover piece where people in a pride march were openly chanting, "We are coming for your kids." Okay, you have I think gays against groomers came out with a piece where they showed, I forgot, I think it was the Daily Mail. Daily Mail got a transcript of a video of a bunch of teachers in, I believe they were in the Midwest. They were openly conspiring using state funds that are meant to be like a kind of workshop, right? All these teachers are supposed to get together in a workshop to kind of talk about how they can help their students, just grow and come up with, I guess you can say teaching plans. They're supposed to be coming up with teaching plans to help their students, right? Instead, these teachers are coming together to conspire on how they can skirt the Republican laws about, hey, not teaching children gender ideology in class. How if a student of theirs is supposedly trans or has a different kind of like pronouns or different idea about themselves, how they are conspiring to essentially keep that knowledge away from their parents, right? Like what's going on here? That's not what teachers are allowed to do. You're not allowed to sit here and teach kids weird crap and then tell them, hey, don't tell your parents about this, right? Or shield, or simply, hide away certain things that these kids are going through from their parents, right? No, that's not your right as a teacher to do that, right? That's that's the parents' kids. The parents have every right to know what is going on with in their child's life, right? You don't feed them, you don't clothe them, you don't bathe them. Their parents do, right? Like, we have gone so far off the deep end where leftists overtly are saying, yes, we have every right, even more of a right to your children than their own parents. It's ridiculous, right? But teachers are also saying, hey, in Canada, if you don't believe in any of this LGBTQ stuff that we're trying to get your kids to learn, well, then you don't belong here, right? As the Post Millennial reports, you don't belong here. Teacher tells Muslim students they can't be Canadian if they don't back pride. Okay, an Edmonton teacher has been on tape berating Muslim students for not doing enough to support pride. many aspects of which go against their culture and religious beliefs. I remember when a certain former president told the squad, right, Elon Omar, what was it, Ocasio Cortez. I forgot the other two. Rashida Tlaib and Cori Bush. I believe that was her name. These are diverse women, right? Minority congresswomen who are all just crapping on America, saying, "Hey, America is a white supremacist, evil, racist country," right? Elon Omar, who came here from Somalia, right, to say that, despite the fact that her own country is kind of like overridden with, Islamic terrorism, stuff like that. They openly came after Trump, saying, "Hey, what he said was straight up, xenophobic." But yet, these people are allowed to openly attack immigrants who don't agree with LGBTQ. Remember when this even I forgot how you pronounce this. Ivan here, who is a Russian Orthodox Christian, his team was supposed to play for like I think it was like a Pride night celebration. They were supposed to wear Pride jerseys, have Pride lights all over the field and stuff like that. He says, "Hey, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to sit here and draw a hissy fit about it. I'm just going to remove myself from the game. I'm just not going to play tonight, right?" NHL analyst here, AJ Radic, I think that's how you pronounce it, openly said, "Hey, you should go back to your own country. If you don't feel like you should be participating in this, you should just go back to your own country." Okay. Well, again, when Trump said that to four minority congresswomen who were just crapping all over America, saying America and Americans are racist and all this other crap, right? He says, "Go back to your own country if you don't like it here," right? They all crapped on him, saying he was being xenophobic. But now you have Canadians alike, even Americans, saying to Muslims that, "Hey, you don't like it, then you should probably go back to your own country as well," right? Is that not hypocritical of you guys to do that? Who knows, right? Canadian Muslim parents to protest LGBT propaganda in Calgary schools on Friday, right? So they're definitely all out in full force saying, "Hey, we don't appreciate that." And in a survey from CNN, American Muslims 0% identify as lesbian or gay, right? And what they try to say here is that mainly because most people who are Muslim but also identify as that, they're scared, right? They're scared that, hey, something might, they don't want to say exactly, but you look to Sharia law, right? Go back to look at Muslim countries, right? People who are openly gay in these countries, they don't end up staying alive for very long. They get put in jail because a lot of it is considered illegal under Sharia law, right? Under kind of like the more orthodox Islamic culture, right? Remember when Jesse Smollett faked his own attacking, right? The Muslim, not, they were Muslim. I forgot the brothers. One of the rumor was that one of the brothers may have been in a relationship with Jesse Smollett, and the brothers were openly trying to dispute that, saying, "Hey, stop pushing that rumor, because when we go back to Africa, to our country, whatever country that their family is from, if when they try to go back to visit their family, they will literally get put in jail and possibly murder, because in whatever country their family is from, it is punishable by death to be a homosexual, right?" So to sit here and pretend like, hey, Muslim countries and African countries are not open to, it's a huge clash between those cultures and American and Canadian culture. Um, you know, Again, Republicans been saying that for years, saying, hey, there's certain cultures that don't clash, right? There's a reason why we have different nations. There's a reason why we have different languages and all this other crap, right? Because people realize that, hey, we want to practice certain things this way. We want to practice certain things the other way, right? There's a huge clash of cultures, right? Leftists like to pretend that, hey, America is just this big old mixing pot that you can just toss in whatever spice you want and it will just gel well. That doesn't work. You still need a overarching hierarchy of kind of culture. You got to have a much bigger macro culture, and you can have a little smaller subcultures, but you still need some type of hegemony, right, for a country to still exist, or you're just going to essentially have different warring tribes just going at each other, because they'll figure out really quick that, hey, we don't all agree on something, right? They have to agree on something overall, in order to essentially, gel well, right? If you have so many different cultures, just constantly feuding with each other because they don't agree on anything, well, then that's a recipe for civil war. But hey, people realize that, well, actually that's what the socialists want. They want a revolution. So they want a bunch of people from different backgrounds in order to come together in order to kind of like shake things up, because hey, they want to take down America. They keep saying that America is a white supremacist hegemony. They constantly say that, right? Again, going back to this article with Trump, that's what the four congresswomen believe. They're all socialist types. They openly say that, hey, we don't like America. We think America is evil, it's racist, and we want to, kind of start a revolution to change that, right? They need some type of, other groups of people to come together to kind of shake things up in order to get their revolution in America, right? And so, but you're starting to see how it's starting to become a double-edged sword, because Muslims don't agree with the overarching the overarching LGBT idea because of Islamic religion. Okay, you're starting to see Cuban Americans, right? Because they're like, oh well, everybody who's Hispanic is clearly on the left wing, right? No, some Hispanics are Catholic. They come from, there's certain parts of Mexico, certain parts of Central America that are devout Catholic, and those people are kind of immigrating here. They're also pushing back against LGBTQ curriculum being pushed in schools. Cuban Americans are coming here and saying, hey, we don't like the Democrats because they're pushing the exact same socialist policies that destroyed Cuba. Why we escaped that place in the first place? Okay, we don't like it. We're going to vote for Ron DeSantis in Florida, which is what we saw this past midterms, where Cuban districts that were supposed to go blue, right? A lot of people were suspecting those places were going to go hard blue with hard red, because they're straight up was like, no, you guys are socialists. We just fled a communist country. We're not with that. Okay. And you're starting to see, again, it becoming a double-edged sword for leftist radical progressives. So, like always, stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you, Patriots, on the battlefield.